one. Walk and skank, and me say walk and skank. Yes sir. Walk and skank, and me say walk and skank. One. Walk and skank, and me say walk and skank. You go out of the street, you fi walk and skank. You go out of the street, you fi walk and skank. You come in at the dance, you fi walk and skank.
Hello and welcome to your Monday's edition of Loose Mandem. I hope you all had a nice weekend and looking forward to this 40-minute bumper ride of a show, as there are lots to get through. So, coming up on today's show, we'll be discussing the latest and past news stories, such as a man from Bradford being found guilty of manslaughter and cancel culture of the Queen. We also have another dilemma for us to solve, which is a juicy one, so make sure you lot watching do not go anywhere for that segment. As well as all of that, towards the end of the show, we'll be playing another new game of Loose Mandem does Guess the Celebrity. Well, make sure you get all your snacks at the ready, because that is today's Loose Mandem. Start anything, we would like to welcome our new panelist, Akimo Allen, to the team. Welcome, hello. Who is surprisingly related to Kamal. That's right, I'm fighting from. So it is lovely to have him on the show, and hope you lot watching will like his contribution to the show. Now, a 52-year-old man, Warren Martin Colton from Bradford, has been found guilty of the manslaughter of his 38-year-old partner, Claire Wright, after a drug and drink-fueled bondage session went wrong at a luxury lodge in North Wales. Colton fell asleep while she was still restrained as she suffocated to death. Colton found her dead body when he woke up but fled the scene. North Wales Live reported that during his 7-day trial, the court heard Colton had put a sock in her mouth and may have taped it up to her. It was later determined that Wright had died from asphyxia. A jury at Mould Crown Court found Colton guilty of the manslaughter by gross negligence of mum of two, Claire. The jury of 7 men and 5 women took less than 2 hours to return the verdict. The judge, Mr. Justice Simon Picken, sentenced Colton of Buck Lane, Baildon, near Bradford, to 6 years for the crime. Following the death of Claire Wright, it prompts the question, should there be more precautions set out when in the bedroom? Josh, what do you think of that so far?
I mean, it's an interesting way to die, and also, I mean, it's kind of difficult when someone's denied their own home to set precautions. That's what actually are you meant to do? Because you can't have like police going into everyone's bedrooms and having a look around to make sure they're not doing stuff like that. Sorry, I just found it quite funny.
I mean, it is a very weird way of you know, being found guilty of a crime. I mean, it's during a bondage session. I can understand it's. I mean, but then again, it's not necessarily new. It has happened before. In fact, there's a whole thing around it saying that apparently it's done on purpose. I mean, would you consider that to be like a factor to it?
What, it's done on purpose? What is?
In terms of her, him deliberately leaving her to die on purpose.
I mean, but then it'd have been murder and not manslaughter.
Exactly. So but then again, there is like a certain rumor that it's supposed to be done on purpose, though.
Oh, well, then he's just a weirdo.
They're just a weirdo. I can understand that. Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, BDSM again is a sexual activity, I suppose, and again, it's not necessarily new. Come on, what's your reactions to this story, man?
Yeah, it's just because it's a sad that she's died, and every tragic death is, you know, every death is a tragic tragedy. But I just thought, why fall asleep while she's still restrained? Like, I know I've heard stories about, you know, when people have said you know, sometimes the girl is asleep, sometimes you know, the faints, but he fell asleep. So I'm just wondering, did you know that she was still restrained? After you restrained yourself, wouldn't you just realise, oh, you know what, I might go to sleep, or I might fall asleep, might as well just restrain her, and then she suffocated to death. But it's just that people need to be more careful if they're doing any sexual acts to their partners.
Especially if it's tying someone up as well. Like.
Yeah, tying someone up, because, you know, we've seen how on movie films, how the male or woman ties up the husband or female to the bedpost and, you know, does sexual acts or does the feather thing, so on. So it's normal, but obviously this wasn't, he just left her. He fell asleep and left her to suffocate to death. So I'm just wondering, how couldn't you remember? How couldn't you think to untie her? Think she will, will die? He may have not thought if she was suffocate, but there's that risk as well that he should have thought of as well, but obviously he didn't. But yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, that is definitely a good point to make. I mean, to be fair, during the sexual activity, he might have just gotten tired and just fell asleep just like that, which is, again, not an excuse, but then again, it could have happened. There is definitely something, there's some details into it. He denied he taped a pink sock in her mouth, so she couldn't even scream, she couldn't even let him know. And maintains that her hands were tied loosely behind her back. Defending Colton, Adam Kane QC said his client thought she would be able to spit out the sock and claimed it was a tragic accident. However, the jury only took 2 hours to return a guilty verdict. So it was pretty much, he was guilty just like that.
Yeah, and I would add something as well. It said Prosecutor Caroline Rees said a couple brought what Colton called toys, including ties, red tape, white tape and gloves, along to the resort for bondage sessions. She said Colton, who was 12 years older, was the dominant partner. Today, months ago, he told the jury, Mold Crown Court found Colton guilty of manslaughter by gross negligence of his mum of 2, Claire. The jury of 7 men and 5 women took what's also less than 2 hours to return their verdict. So I know people are into different kind of fetishes and kinks, but there's that risk as well. But yeah, that's my opinion.
Oh yeah, thank you for sharing that. Akimel, now, obviously she's a mother of 2, and I believe one of the children was a 15-year-old. And she goes, "Oh, my childhood is ruined forever." Now you've got to think, right? Your mother's died because your father typically killed her accidentally in a game.
Caused a lot of trauma.
Yeah, right.
If I was the daughter, well, obviously I'm a guy, but if I was the daughter, I'll be mad, but at the same time, I'll be kind of sad as well. I'm guessing that's what she's feeling right now, because you'd be angry at the father for doing that, but you can't be too angry because it was an accident. So you wouldn't know what feelings you'd be really betraying. It'd be hard to put your feelings out there.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, in that position, I mean, you've got to understand, even, again, you're right with the trauma, it's you can't really blame him like that, you know what I mean? But then again, at her school, she'll probably have a lot of people who hear, and then...
It'd be terrible over there, because now lots of people who, let's say, don't like her that much, will start using that against her, and affect her in the mental state, and that's going to be terrible for her.
And maybe because Josh said they didn't put murder, but I think it's manslaughter, because they took drugs and drink as well, and that mix isn't good. So maybe that's why I fell asleep, because some drugs make you a bit hazy, make you a bit sleepy. But I think you're still conscious knowing that you've tied your wife up there. I should untie her, but obviously that wasn't the case. But
exactly.
Rest in peace to them, Claire, and hopefully her kids get the right support and treatment after that tragedy.
I really hope they do, because it's not something that you can just shrug off, that's your parents, and I mean, this is your life now, and you've got to try and find a way through that. So I hope that they do find the help that they can move on from this and grow from it.
So I didn't realise this, but it says the judge also said Colton was aware of that there was a risk of him falling asleep after drinking while the victim was tied up, but he took that risk anyway. So he said he knew, but
I mean, it's labelled a sex game gone wrong. Now, a report from The Guardian says men who kill women are increasingly using the sex game gone wrong excuse as a contemporary variation on the traditional crime of passion defense, research has found. I mean, Josh, do you agree with that? Do you think more and more people, more and more men are using that as an excuse?
I mean, I've not really looked into the numbers much. I can't say that I've googled any numbers on this topic, but I mean, if people are using it as an excuse, I mean, it's going to be one of those. things where it's going to be one of those grey areas where it's really difficult to find out if it was deliberate or not. It'll be probably easier to find out if it was like, if that is an excuse for just like straight on murder. But if it was like some random person trying to murder someone, that is probably quite easy to work out. But if it's like a partner trying to murder another partner and they've done it in that way, I mean it would be very difficult to work out the difference between that being murder or it being an accident, especially if there's like a history of like a couple doing it or like something like that. I think it could be quite difficult. So I think it would be, I mean, yeah, just going to be hard, isn't it?
It is going to be hard.
Work out.
It is hard to, even with the verdict, it's quite hard to really pinpoint what it exactly was. I mean, again, on this panel we still kind of struggle if it really was an accident or if it really was, it wasn't, So it is a bit of a weird one, but even then, it doesn't excuse the fact that the kids are going to be struggling for a little while, and again, hopefully help goes to them. And much support goes to the rest of the family as well. But thank you guys for sharing your opinions on that. Moving on from that debate, a woke Oxford student who led a controversial move to remove a portrait of the Queen has been revealed to be an American postgraduate. A committee of students in Magdalen College agreed the painting of the Queen Elizabeth would be taken down because she represents colonialism. The postgrad student, Matthew Katzman, is a lecturer in the computer science and the son of a top lawyer from Maryland. He also studied at Stanford University in the States. He said the common room is meant to be a space for all to feel welcome. The removal of the portrait sparked an outcry led by Education Secretary Gavin Williamson, which he states, Oxford University students removing a picture of the Queen is simply absurd. She is the head of state and a symbol of what is best about the United Kingdom. The decision has caused an uproar among the university's royalties who believe cancel culture has taken a step too far. Do you agree? Do you think that in this case, that the cancel culture has gone too far? Akimo, do you think it's gone a bit too far, man?
It's a bit of an interesting one. I mean, a few times cancel culture has gone a bit far sometimes, but however, for this one, I didn't really like the word family, in my opinion. I'm not really a person who go I'm all about them that much. So I'm kind of more on the green side with the actual woman who took down the picture, but at the same time, I know it's a bit of history you could learn from. You can look at the Queen, look at the history back in the past, and you can learn things what they've done in the past. So it's a bit of a hard one because I don't like the family, but I would actually, I'll rather keep the painting there for memories sake of the history. But for the actual education institutes actually complain about it, is in their right to do that because it is part of their their symbol basically, because the Queen is basically the symbol of obviously the Queen's symbol of our country, and it's going to be mostly for the education because the education is mostly run by actual government laws all about the Queen. But I'm kind of in the middle of all this one. I'm not.
It is weird because yes, the royal family has definitely got a history of racist and colonialism, so I can definitely see where you're coming from that, But I guess the other side of the argument is the fact that an American is coming into the scene and trying to tell people that they shouldn't have that on the walls, So I get where you're coming from. Kumar, do you have any contrasting views to this?
I think it's gone too far. I think what they said, she's the head of state. Obviously, yes, the royal family has colonialism in the history of slavery. But we've moved on from that now, and I think people are just looking back at history rather than moving forward, because it says here, according to the minutes of Monday's MCR committee meeting, the motion was tabled in an effort to make the common room more welcoming, to recognise that for some students, depictions of the monarchy and the British monarchy represent recent colonial history. So, I think they should have left it anyway, and I agree with you. Why is an American debating what should be, not what shouldn't be, or what should be, put in a common room for universities that's in the UK? But the Queen is from the UK and is head of state. The UK, and she's the head of state of the Commonwealth as well.
I mean, we know. I'm sorry to cut. I mean, even we know that America is not necessarily a fantastic place in terms of history with colonialism, etc., etc.
And I think, is it counterproductive? Are we going to go? Oh, look at that building was built by slaves. Let's knock it down. Are we going to do? Is it going to go that far? You get what I mean? Because it looks like they're picking out. Oh, that's racist. Oh, that's part of the colonials. That was built by slave traders. You get what I mean? So is it going to go too far? Or is it when's it going to stop now? And I know. I like black people are there, and like people are talking about this, but I think that it's going to a bit too much now. I think obviously some parts, yes, you can cancel it, but some parts like this, it's a portrait. It's not like it's a. You know what I mean? To me, it's a portrait. It's a picture. Don't look at it if you disagree with it. Don't look at it. But like what Solomon said, the American student, but you want to study in the UK, and the Queen's from the UK, and she's head of state there. So why are you going to study there if you don't like the royal family? I know some people in the UK don't like the royal family, but you get what I mean. But like, you're not from. Like, I'm not being like that. He wasn't. I don't think he's got a right to say that. I don't know.
How about you, Josh? What do you think?
I've just got a question. Have they actually removed it, or was it just a request?
Yes, they removed it.
Yeah. They have removed it. Then it's stupid, and I can see like that cancel culture and all that. Not only in my opinion, has already slightly gone too far. But I can see it only getting worse because like a lot of views from people have like people are trying to cancel everything and anything because of like the history of it. And it's like it doesn't matter what someone is doing now or anything like that. If there is a history behind it that is built on something that is wrong, people view the thing now as wrong. So it's like a portrait of the Queen in a room in England, right? Which personally to me isn't a big deal, and obviously America's very different to the UK. So like I could never see I couldn't see many English like students or whatever, or people who live in England who would actually request to remove a portrait of the Queen or whatever. That obviously to like us is not a big deal.
Most don't really care because they're not there to look at the portraits. They're there to study.
Yeah. But like obviously in America it's quite different. In America, more things go to like the legal system. A lot of different, like Americans always talk about like their rights and all that, and they're a lot more. If they don't like something, they're a lot more likely to complain about it like publicly and openly and try and get it like taken down or whatever. And it's partly why I think an American was the one who like initiated the removing of it, and I think it's the stupidest thing.
I mean, what culture has again like?
It is stupid.
It is a stupid. It is.
I mean, it's brought around some good things, but it's like you brought around good things, but it's like they're going to live long enough to see themselves become the villain, because they're going to do some good things that in the future will be looked upon and looked on in the past, and people go, that was brilliant. I can't believe that before that we didn't do that, right? And yet, let's say that they got everything they wanted, because I've heard some stupid requests, at least by Americans, that like, or at least by a small minority of like woke people in America who are on about like splitting up cultures and like doing like the opposite of like trying to diversify. Trying to get areas to be more diverse. They're like splitting up cultures because one culture could not possibly understand another culture's history or anything. And like, there's some stupid things that I've heard. Like, I think it was like a student or something, or like some people have been like asking in America for white history teachers to not teach black history. because a black teacher should teach it instead.
Right.
Because a white teacher would never understand, which is utterly stupid. Things like that are utterly stupid. Removing a portrait of the Queen is honestly not a big deal. Don't look at the picture, just ignore it.
Yeah, it says here that the photo would be safely stored, and political website Wider Fox reported the motion was launched to make members feel welcome, with Unsilgan said to have commented, patriotism and colonialism are not separable. So yeah, it's safely stored, but
they're still taking it down, which is ridiculous. Now, I guess, again, in terms of what Akima was saying, yes, I guess you can argue. I mean, if we're removing the whole, colonial mindset thing going on from there, I guess there was a recent case, I think, from Prince Philip, apparently, in terms of, apparently Prince Philip, he visited a Australian country back in, visited Australia, my bad, sorry. Visited Australia back in 2002, asking Aboriginal Australian if they were still throwing spears. Not gonna lie, I mean, yes, it's not necessarily a great thing to say to an Aboriginal whilst there. It is very, it's just ridiculous. But in 1999, he mused that an old-fashioned fuse box must have been put in by an Indian. In 1986, he warned British students in China that they would become slitty-eyed if they stayed too long. And Akimo, I mean, could you think? Would you say someone would argue that, all right, maybe they did do the right thing because of those things there?
No. After seeing all those stuff, obviously, it's not really the best thing to say, realistically, because all those stuff was just completely out of line. What you said, it was at this point it's completely racism. Saying all this stuff to the Chinese and saying this on space is too much. You shouldn't be saying these stuff. I will not back that up at all. I will never back it up.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that gives a little bit more persuasion then to the opposing side of, yes, they should have taken it down then?
Once again, I'm still in the mixed opinion for me, but and once again, the history is onto that, so I would better to keep it on there. You might as well keep it on there just for the history. So yeah, it makes sense to stay there and not take it down. But I'm still mixed on it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. All right, again, I appreciate it for all your brews. Thank you for sharing them, man. I know it's a very weird one. Again, I don't agree with them taking it down. I mean, yeah, they have a history of racism, okay, but yeah. They weren't the Queen. No. It wasn't the Queen, but I mean, it was part of the royal family.
The Middle Common Room is an organisation of graduate students. They don't represent the college. A few years ago, in about 2013, they bought a print of a photo of the Queen to decorate their common room. They recently voted to take it down. Both of these decisions are their own to take in other colleges. Magdalene strongly supports free speech and political debate and the MCR's right to autonomy. Maybe they'll vote to put it up again, maybe they won't. Meanwhile, the thought it will be safely stored. So yeah, so hopefully they may.
But I don't see that happening though. I honestly don't. I think they're a bit too sensitive now in terms of, if we do, then less people will want to come to that university because they'll paint as, it's a political thing, and they'll do all of that. So I doubt they want to make that risk, which is unfortunate, but I could see that happening. But well, that is it for what we think for them two sets of discussions, but please stay tuned because after the break we'll be discussing a new dilemma and we will be playing a game of Loose Mandem does Guess the Celebrity. See you soon.
Walk and skank, and me say walk and skank, yes sir. Walk and skank, and me say walk and skank. One. Walk and skank, and me say walk and skank. You go out of the street, you fi walk and skank. You go out of the street, you fi walk and skank. You come in at the dance, you fi walk and skank.
Welcome back. Still to come, the panelists playing another new game of Loose Mandem does Guess the Celebrity. So hopefully Josh will win this, as he has not ever won a game. No, you haven't. But we will see in about 10 to 12 minutes or so. It's the truth, though, isn't it, though? Lies. Right, let us get into this new dilemma, juicy new dilemma from the Sun. So, a woman claims that she cannot help but love her son. However, he is convicted, is a convicted paedophile. Yes. He is 38 and in prison for having sex with and bear with me here, a 13-year-old girl. He even got her pregnant, so she has a grandchild she will never be allowed to meet. She is now found out he has also abused his cousins, who were young children when he was a teenager, and she hates him for what he has done. However, he is still her son. He is alone in prison now and very vulnerable, and she is terrified something bad will happen to him. How can she come to terms with this? What do you think about that, Kamal?
You know what?
It's terrible, right?
Yeah. And I think that it is wrong what he did, but she didn't make him to be a paedophile. It was his own choice and his own, you know, how he you know, got into that situation. But at the end of the day, it's her son. She birthed him. I feel like she should give him time to recover, and then if he's, you know, got the right support and the help what he needs to recover, I feel like she should she could continue the relationship with him, because she like she said, she still loves him, and it would be unfair to cut him off with, you know, and we don't know why he did that, you know, so I think she should give him a chance while he's recovered properly, and if he's not willing to recover and he's not willing to you know, get support, cut him off.
Okay. Well, okay, good points. I mean, it isn't easy to really cut off feelings for your family members just like that. It is harder, it's easier said than done, but it is really hard because they're your flesh and blood, you know what I mean? So it is a bit difficult, you know. I get that. Josh, what is your view on this?
Oh, he's a terrible bloke, but the mum probably won't respect him. I watched a documentary recently about a kid who attempted to kill both his parents. Shot both his parents 3 times while they were asleep, and they still go and visit him in prison. So if a parent could forgive their kid for literally trying to kill them, not saying that this is just as bad of a crime, right? But I mean, if she still loves him, she'll probably should she be worried about him in prison? Also, yes. She'll probably just be alright.
Because I see her, she's 60 and I hate him for what he's done, but he's still my son and I can't wash my hands off him. I think someone must have abused him as a child to make him turn out that way. And he's alone in prison and very vulnerable, and she's very terrified something bad will happen to him, because I didn't realise that child sex offenders and paedophiles are in a separate wing from ones who are in prison already, to make sure they don't, obviously they will kill them, won't they? Because of what they've done as, you know, being a paedophile, so they're in a separate wing, but it should be safe in there anyway, because he'll be with I'm not saying that, but it's not with the other inmates and prisoners who have done bad things like that, like murder, you know, car accidents or something like that, you get what I mean? So, so it should be okay for now, honest, but...
Should be okay for now, you know what I mean? I mean, right, so this, obviously he slept with a 13-year-old girl and she's pregnant, and I don't believe she's allowing the actual mother of the paedophile to actually see the child when it's born. Do you think that's unfair to the mother, though, who obviously typically in a sense innocent in all of this? Do you think that's acceptable, Akima?
Honestly, it depends on the actual what the parents want. If they don't want the other woman to come over to see their grandchild, then obviously she won't be able to, because the parents are probably scared for their child. They're feeling lots of grief from this, and honestly, I don't blame them, and I do feel bad for the mother who their son got a 13-year-old girl pregnant. I feel bad for her because she has to worry about the news about her son and worry about she's never going to see her grandchild. And that's two things she has to worry about, and it's really terrible. And I feel really bad for her.
It has a lot of repercussions at the end of the day, that consequence, that ripple effect, you know what I mean? Like that little thing, well, I mean, yeah, it's not really little, but I mean, that act has technically damaged relationships outside of that, you know? And ultimately, it's led to a mother who, like you said, can't see her son and can't see her grandchild, and it's also led to a young little girl who has to, is gonna probably who's gonna have a child and has to deal with all of that, with the news going on her, and even at school and all that stuff like that, or the pressure of that. It is quite, you know what I mean? I mean, I believe she'll have like support from her parents, of course, you know what I mean? Because again, it's quite a young age. But yeah, come on, more notes, yeah.
From the National Crime Agency, it says them and police forces have arrested 320 people and safeguarded over 400 children as part of Operation Targeting the UK's most dangerous child sex offenders, and that was in I don't know, what's that in? I'm not saying a month that was in, but that's still January 2021 of this year. And it says as well, the operation formed part of the enhanced UK law enforcement response to online child abuse since the first coronavirus lockdown, which led to 4,760 arrests and 6,500 children being safeguarded between April and September. So lockdown has been increased for child sexual offenders to abuse children online, because when was in that first coronavirus lockdown, everyone was on phones. We couldn't go outside. First lockdown, we couldn't go outside. The government said restricted places, so everyone was online watching TV on the phone. So yeah, you would see an increase in that, and that's probably like those child sexual offenders like, yeah, we're gonna get them now because they're online now. Because we couldn't go to school, couldn't go to anywhere. So yeah, from morning to night, they'll probably be on trying to abuse a child online.
Oh yeah.
And that's awful.
I mean, even after this though, it is the mother has to have a lot of stress after that. To even have he was doing it when he was a teenager to his younger cousins. I mean, there could have been probably a step to try and prevent that, from carrying on. There could have been help going from a younger age to try and help him before it got him to worse. Now it's ended like this, I guess, again, I'm not to blame the mother at all, but I guess there is some sort of responsibility that the parents of this person must have, over what happened, because it's ended into a 13-year-old getting pregnant, and I guess in terms of potentially having maybe therapy for this when he was younger, even, because if he was abused when he was younger and then led to him abusing, it was definitely something that they could have tried to control, not necessarily control, but to look after him more around that part. I mean, again, that's depending if he really explained it to that extent,
It says here, sorry to quick stop, but I just want to get this key figure. It said this way in March this year, up to 450 paedophiles have been arrested every month in the UK amid an explosion of online offences, the report has revealed. So that's high.
That's a lot. That is a lot.
And in a year as well, that's you know what I mean. But now look, this is what I'm saying. It's hard to. It's more easier to catch them out now because everyone wasn't doing nothing in lockdown. They were bored, so they're probably like, yeah, let's see if any paedophiles online. But now once we're getting back to that, it's kind of getting back to our busy lives. They'll still catch them, but it won't be as
I think it will definitely increase a bit more and more and more. I mean, again, it depends on how or where we can be, but it will increase a lot more. But again, thank you guys for sharing your views again. Though terrible, it's a definitely kind of dilemma. You know what I mean? It's again, and we're not trying to like make fun of.
Sorry, I'm going to give the what Deidre says.
Oh, what is it?
She said, this is not your fault that whatever may have happened to him. Your son had choices. Your confused feelings are natural. A mother doesn't stop loving your son just because he's done bad things. You need to support people who understand and will not judge. And there's a contact the Prison Advice and Care Trust of the National Prisoners Families Helpline. So they can help it, and that's for everyone. That's
yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, it is a very different kind of dilemma and something that is, again, we're not trying to mock anybody in any of that dilemma. It's just our opinions and how we view it and how we would kind of go about it if that was the case. But yeah, again, thank you again for sharing your opinions. But now it is a Monday, so the next thing should be fun and may make you feel happy or make your spirits lifted. So it is time to play Loose Mandem does Guess the Celebrity. In this game, it's quite simple. I will give 3 clues to Josh, Akimo and Kamar, and they will have to guess who they will think the mystery celebrity is. Once they think or know who it is, they must put their hand up, and then I will choose them one by one to tell me their answer. If one of them guess it correctly, they will get 1 point. If they are near to the answer or guess, for example, the type of TV show they are in but cannot name it, they will get half a point. You guys will be able to see who it is before these lot. And yeah, let's start getting ready to play Celebrity Guess the Celebrity. This is out to all of you now, right? It's alright. This celebrity, or should I say this actor, has spoken at the UN. Hold on. Was referred to be a Wolf of Wall Street and has appeared in Titanic. That's a point to you. Okay. Titanic, come on now. Oh, hold on one second. Alright. Right, so this actor has played a cowboy alongside Jake Gyllenhaal. Sorry, I pronounced his name terribly wrong there. Jake Gyllenhaal in Brokeback Mountain. And this is an obvious clue now. Has starred as a clown-like villain against Batman.
Heath Ledger.
Okay, sure. Okay, yeah, Heath Ledger. That's another point. But you're gonna say Heath Ledger? All right. Next one. Okay, this actress has been in Color Purple. Is a presenter on a women's TV talk show in America. And has appeared in Sister Act. Oh, come on, come on.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Yes, that's correct. That's a point to you.
Oh, shit.
I wouldn't have got it, man.
What are you going to say?
I don't know. The name of famous person in America. I'm probably going to say Oprah or something.
Yep, two, yeah, one to you.
I was going to say Oprah or something.
Josh, you're winning?
I don't know. Anything.
Alright, okay. I mean, technically, I expect you two to really get this next one. You not so much, but if you do get it, then But anyways, right. He played Billy Elliot as a child.
Oh, Tom Holland. Correct. Yeah.
That was correct. Damn, that was great. Okay. That's 3.
Go on, tell me the rest of the...
Now, the rest of the clues would have been he portrays the current Peter Parker, which is obviously Spider-Man, and also I absolutely hate this celebrity, not because he's not because I don't hate him, but I just hate him as Peter Parker, bro. I hate him, bro. I hate him, man. Pardon you. Alright, but anyways, next one. Alright, this actor is known for playing the recent, or should I say current Equalizer, right? He took Ethan Hawke on a training day, and also from that specific training day, one of his famous quotes is, "King Kong ain't got on me."
Oh, God. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Last name is after a state in America.
Yep.
Correct. That's 2. That's 2 to you.
Oh, so Josh is on 3, Kim was on 1, I'm on 2, so...
Yep. Okay. No, there's still more.
I've only seen one film with him in.
What's that?
Remember the Titans?
Remember the time? That's a good film, though.
Is he in it?
Yeah. All right. This next celebrity, right? One of the famous songs is "Believe." Starred in Burlesque, and also another famous quote from this person is, "If I could turn back time." Yeah. Yeah.
Celine Dion.
No.
Pants.
I do confuse them too, though. Those I want to.
Is it a woman?
Yeah, it's a woman.
Check.
Correct. Is that?
That's another point for you.
Josh,
Mate, I can't remember.
Josh.
It's a woman, isn't it?
We're in a draw now.
Yeah.
So.
Both of them. All right.
I'm interested.
So right now you are last, and you two are joined. So I've got 4 more left. Right.
Oh, we can draw it.
Okay. Next one. Starred in Labyrinth.
Oh, what's his name?
Sang Under Pressure with. Yeah.
Oh, what's his name? The one who.
Kimo. What?
No, wait, no, it's not. No, it's not.
Oh. Huh?
Oh, I've forgotten his name. I can only name one of his aliases.
Oh, well, all right. Sang Under Pressure with Queen.
Yeah, I know who it is.
Yeah.
I've forgotten his name. What's his name?
I'm not gonna tell you. What's the point of you the whole game?
Tiny Temple.
Nah, I can't.
No. Although he has performed with Labyrinth.
Problem
Though.
is, I hate him. Huh? I hate him with a passion.
That's how I feel with Tom Holland.
No.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. We don't know.
No, I do. He plays. Was it that Ziggy Stardust or something? He had aliases. It's him. What's his actual name?
5.
I don't know.
Does he get half a point for that?
You'll get half a point for knowing who
Yeah.
he is. I do know who he
You know
is.
who he is?
Yes,
I'll give
he
you
plays
half.
the like Elf King or whatever. He kidnapped the baby.
Yeah, I'll give you half a point.
Yeah, I hate him. What's his name?
David Bowie.
That's
Oh,
it.
no,
David
I can't believe you
Bowie.
get that.
Hate him with a passion.
Yeah.
Best thing he ever did was being Labyrinth.
Oh, no.
He was sick in that film.
All the little crystal balls.
All the dodgy stairs and that. Well good.
Josh might win this.
He might, you know. He's ahead.
Same with the puppets. It's
Alright.
Hold on. Right. This one should be easy, I think. So they started out with a song called "Let's Get Ready to Rumble."
Oh,
Sorry, let me just put my hand up first.
okay, go for it.
Anton Deck.
Correct. Okay, technically you're in the lead now because that's a full point. All right. Okay. Next one.
Last one?
Next, no, there's 2. There's this one and then there's another one. All right. Another one is Wrecking Ball.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep, you got that right. Yeah. I was quick.
Yeah.
You're quick with it.
Josh is
Quick with it.
Come on, please.
All right. This is the last one now. All right. So and everybody get ready. Right. Right. Has an extremely famous reality TV show. Had an item of jewelry stolen from this person a few years back. Wait. And recently divorced.
Yes. Kim Kardashian.
Yes, that's correct.
well done.
Josh wins. Well
I got it
done.
from the Q&A.
You got it from
I
the.
don't know why.
Is that what she's famous for, the jewelry one?
Yeah,
All
he's
right.
famous for having a bit of jewelry nicked in Paris.
Well done, Josh. You won. You clearly won. Again, thank you all for today, though. Honestly, well done participating in that game. Though I know it's hard because of this one, first ever game. So well done, man. So I clap you up for that one. Well, that is it for today's show, everyone. We have run out of time, sadly. I want to thank Kamal, Josh, and our new panelist, Akimo, for joining me and sharing their views bravely on today's show. Please do not forget to share, like, and comment. Follow us, subscribe, and set alerts on for any of our posts we post on social media pages, which are on your screen right now. Finally, remember to tell all the Mandem and Gyaldem about Loose Mandem. Kamal will be in the seat on Friday, so we will see you then. Take care. Bye.